I'm so woke, I woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Hello and welcome. It is 9 o'clock on the 28th day of February 2021. I am your grumpy guide to all things gaming. So controversial, I've been banned on every country and the moon. And it's Sunday, which means it's adventure building. And this month we're doing the infamous Westmarch Hexcrawl. So far in our meandering, we have agreed that the Hexcrawl, Westmarch, whatever, starts in a city. And for reasons, that city is the farthest you can get. You know, it's the Westmarches. It's the last bastion of civilization before this vast wilderness. How do you get to the city? Doesn't matter. Why? What? How does the city survive in the middle of nowhere? I don't know. But, tourists. I mean, logically, we know from history that cities, villages, towns only survive as long as there is an influx of income and they have imports and exports. A perfect example, towns and cities and roadside attractions built along Route 66 or railroads or at, gold mines. When the highway moved to 40 and people stopped going down Route 66, a lot of those towns dried out. When the railroads stopped going down that road and went down a different track, the towns dried out. When gold mines ran empty and people started leaving the towns dried out and it became ghost towns. So logically, a town in the middle of nowhere with no influx of income, no imports or exports, should not exist. But this is D&D, so we don't need a reason for why the town exists. Sure, it's on a river or on a trade road or whatever. We'll put it on a river. Okay, so river, we got a town. And it's on a river. It doesn't need to be because, there's no logical explanation for why this town is there. Other than this town is safety, it's sanctuary, it's where the player characters can rest, recuperate, level up, trade up magic items, re-equip themselves, get new members, new players can join the game. They can question NPCs. What does this do? Oh, wise guys. Nothing bad ever happens in the town, and we hope that the player characters don't start killing the NPCs. So hopefully there's some reason, either the NPCs are so valuable or that there's some super powerful something protecting them, or just it's not worth it to kill them. Now then, when we get out of the town, we have our zones. Now, technically, each zone, the farthest you get away from town, should be tougher than the last zone. Doesn't have to be, but it should be, because otherwise, how would the town survive if the second you step outside, there's 15 dragons? So, we have our first zone. It's our safety zone. This is all our low level things, and each zone is a day, or each hex is a day. Travel, it depends how big you want your hex crawl to be. Each hex could be a day, or each, to get from one end of the zone to the other end of the zone in every direction is a day. So I don't know. So we have, and we'll do, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our first zone, we'll make it in yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, we'll have this zone. Then that's the low level zone. And then each zone after that should be progressively take longer to travel, be harder, and have more risks and rewards. And then, if we're telling a linear or as linear story as you can tell in the Hexcrawl, there should be some timeline of danger. There should be something to, inspire them to go out here and explore, besides just, the general overall, why is this all here? What is this big, vast, unexplored whatever filled with traps and tricks and treasures and monsters and tombs and dungeons and mysterious pyramids and 15-story tall wizard towers and a mega dungeon. Why is this all here? Where did this all come from? That's part of the mystery. So the first thing, is the mystery. Mystery. Why? Where? Why are we here? Where did this all come from? Now, I like the one from Kingmaker that, there was a war. This kingdom won the war, and in part of the war, they got all this land. Now, there's a whole bunch of stuff in this land that they don't know anything about. It's kind of like, the explorers come into a new continent, and they're like, okay, this continent's filled with stuff, and there's no one here because they left when they saw us. So what is all this stuff is? We got to go explore it, see if it's dangerous, see if there's anything worth money, see if we can use it, whatever. So the player character's job is to explore all this, find out where it came from, why it's there, what happened, eliminate any threats to the city, and then part of the reward is, well, if you clear out an area, you can make it yours. The king has given you these deeds. If you clear out this hex, this hectave or whatever, you can make it your own little kingdom. That's part of the reward. You hit 10th level or whatever, you become a lord if we're using old D&D. So then we have to decide what each biome is. I mean, do we want it to all just be the same biome? Do you just want it to be forest, desert, whatever? Do we want to have some variation so we can, mix up the encounter? I mean, forest means you're only going to run into generally forest type creatures. It's perfect. I mean, Borrow Maze is a perfect example of a mega dungeon hexcrawl with really only one creature type, undead. But I don't know, that could be boring. So you might want to mix it up. Still, we kind of want this to all be terra incognito. So, when you're here, you can't really see what's over here unless you have drones or flight. But at low level, this should all be mystery. And the best type of mystery, of course, is either jungle or forest or just an area that just, fog, whatever, swamp, just it's hard to see through, it's hard to tell what's beyond. You can climb to the top of the walls of the tower and look out, but all you really see is just maybe the ruins sticking out. So vast jungle or vast forest is probably our top, but we might want to throw in a few other biomes in there. There's probably a water source somewhere in there, maybe a lake. Or maybe the lake is fed from a mountain or a couple mountains. So we'll put a mountain with my really bad art, and maybe another mountain, and maybe a third mountain, and, just a mountain range in the middle of our whatever. Yeah, there we go. That looks great, doesn't it? So we got some water feeding our whatever, our forest. And we probably have a couple tributaries coming off of that, because that's the way water works. And usually civilization builds itself on water, so there's probably some kind of something out here. Could be good guys, could be bad guys, we don't know, but it adds to the mystery. And so there we go. And then we went, technically each zone is slightly tougher than the last zone. So each zone should have some preset encounters that maybe occasionally change, but usually, if there's a cave, that cave is always going to be there. Maybe the first time you go to the cave, there's goblins in the cave, and then you kill the goblins and something moves out, and then something else moves into the cave. But, unless they blow it up, some of the features are always going to be there. So even if they go into the dungeon and clear out the dungeon, unless they seal it up or blow it up, something else is going to move to the dungeon. So that's why we have tables. We have tables of what you're going to encounter in the zone. So we'll make our second zone, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are random tables that you roll on when they enter every hex. And it could be monsters, it could be encounters, it could be random thingies like storms or, eyeballs growing out of the ground or whatever. Helpful encounters, harmful encounters. There could be quests that these guys here in the town give you. Could you go into this zone and get me 3 blue marshmallows? Because they grow in the marshmallow zone. I don't know why I said marshmallows and not mushrooms, but it's there now. We've got the marshmallow zone. So, it's there now. I said it. It's canon. There is a zone where marshmallows grow. Because I meant to say mushrooms, but I said marshmallows. So, whatever. We could have some crazy pixies or whatever. I don't know. But there's marshmallows, and somebody in here gives you a quest to go get 3 blue marshmallows. I meant mushrooms. But then, so we have random quests they can give you, and each zone will have random tables. And the random tables will get progressively harder, progressively weirder, if we're following the dungeon idea that the farther you get from safety, the harder the things get. Then the hardest thing would be at the ends of the zone. Or if we're following a timeline idea, something is coming in from this end of the zone and slowly moving through the zone, and it will eventually hit the city if you don't stop it. I mean, it's been done before. The Black Death is coming, the swarm of, the Orc army, the Empire, the floodwaters, the ice, whatever. But it gives a sense of, we have to do whatever it is we need to do to stop this. But if you don't want that, if you don't want a timeline, if you just want the idea of an exploration, conquest, colonization, oops, I said the bad word, solving the mystery, each zone being slightly harder than the last zone and each zone being farther away from the town, then you could use the linear dungeon idea where the tougher things are up at the edges and the safer things are in the center with maybe some big major dragon or boss or whatever, or not. It could just be constantly wandering, recycling until they eventually just claim all the territory and find a way to make all the territory safe. I mean, if you kill every single solitary monster and make sure there's no way for new monsters to come in, and then eventually this would all just be perfectly safe, and you'd have, I don't know, Los Angeles, and then the only thing you have to worry about is the NPCs themselves and politics and taxes, and now what are you going to do with all this land? And I don't know, but if the campaign lasts that long, you worry about it then. Right now, you just need to figure out what your zones are going to be, what your area is going to be, what your mystery is going to be. Why are you there? What is the mystery? How long is the mystery? Where did these ruins and caves and monsters come from? What is your incentive? Claim it, conquer it, clear it out, do stuff for the NPCs, explore the dungeons, explore the ruins, deal with the various factions. Maybe there's something coming that you need to deal with. You need to solve the mystery of what happened here in order to make sure it didn't happen again. Plus, I've got to clear this all out to make my own little kingdom because the king said that if I clear this out, this is my kingdom. So, we'll draw a little castle of the zone. So there's our cleared out zone. That's our kingdom. Here's our mysterious marshmallow zone. Here's our zones getting slightly tougher. And then, random tables to design random craziness going on in each zone. And the tables can change. If we kill off all the members of the tribe of crazy gargoyles, then maybe something fills that spot, fills that ecosystem. A new tribe moves in. The crazy gargoyles are gone. So the tribe of ape people can move in and take their place on the ecosystem. And obviously I don't know what I'm talking about except for putting crazy gargoyles and ape people on our table along with marshmallow land. I probably should start now and get some caffeine. If you appreciate this content and want to see more, comment down below. If you don't appreciate this content and are planning on unsubscribing, let me know why. If you think I'm too white for Coke, comment down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. Help me hit 500 subs by August 4th, and we'll do something crazy. Hit that notification button. Support me through the PayPal. Support my, fellow YouTubers. And I will talk to you losers later.